smash our faces.
All right. Hello. Welcome to the Comic Nerd Podcast.
That wasn't
This
5 minutes.
Well, no, 5 seconds is why I said.
Oh.
Comic Nerd Podcast. So we're going to do version 1.5 here. We just got back from the Virgin Mary Pistol Grip concert.
Oh,
Had
man.
a great time there.
That was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. I think this is I label this show officially the show you didn't expect that you were going to get.
You're getting there now.
And you're getting it now. So, I guess the thing we're going to just talk a little bit about some of the things that we're passionate about right now. Some of the things that we see in the industry that's going on, and some of the things that we are excited to see coming up. One of the things that, came up just over the last couple of hours, actually, is I'm excited as a publisher for the success of a book that we have called The Summer Lark Elf. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, everybody, straightforward, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see the success of this novel. It was a good novel. I knew it was a good novel. I knew it was something that was going to be, going to do well. But I really didn't see it coming out of the woodwork. Brandon Draga did a great job in creating an accessible fantasy. I love it. I think it's great. I'm glad that other people are agreeing with us. It doesn't have the, shall we say, the depth and complexity of, let's say, like the Lord of the Rings, but it's an excellent fantasy, and I suggest it to everybody. So that was my one observation for tonight. I mean, aside from the fact that Virgin Mary Pistol Grip freaking throwed up, and Two Shakes,
yeah.
Yeah, Two Shakes. The opening band was excellent. They were amazing tonight. What do you guys think? What's on your minds tonight?
Well, I mean, I gotta say, one thing that I really enjoyed about Virgin Mary and Pistol Grip is that, I've been listening to them avidly on their CD or the CD that they gave to me when I served them. They're just like, hey, like, what kind of music are you into? And I was like, I'm into rock and alternative and blah blah blah. And they're like, cool. Well, we got a CD and we're gonna give it to you. And I'm like, that's really cool. And I remember them going like, well, okay, like this isn't your tip, just so you know. And I remember going, A, I did not assume so, and B, I appreciate you letting me know that's not my tip. Already, like, I'm gonna listen to your album just because of what that was about. Anyway, they had some really good stuff. And well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, someone that's only listened to their album, and this being the first time I saw them live or heard them live, both, I did see and hear them. It was really good. I think it was one of those things where, to me, the mark of a really good band or musical artist in general is someone that is able to just sound really good on CD or
CD. Yeah, be able to also replicate that same sound.
Exactly. You get the same kind of sound. Like, I remember, like, oh, this is something different. But no, it'd be like, it's exactly what I've been jamming out to. When I'm on hands, home, cleaning dishes.
Sometimes that cleans the dishes in his underpants.
It's the most efficient way to clean the dishes.
Apparently, it is. I don't do it.
You can't deny it. Like,
because you're going to splash the water up in your shirt.
If one has the opportunity to be in the underpants with no pressure, and one is going to be inside on the fan.
And if you have to do the dishes, you have to do the dishes. So those things just coincide right there.
As long as the dishes.
Back to the main.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, they did a really job. I really enjoyed it. And
They did, and I have to agree with you. As somebody who's only heard the Virgin Mary Pistol Grips in passing, as Sether James has been playing it as their anthem, they do sound very much like they do on the CD. They do a fantastic job of recreating what the sound that they make on the CD, and they're a very good group. If you have the chance to check them out, definitely big shout out to Virgin Mary Pistol Grips and Two Shakes. Both of them were great groups. Did great in performing on stage in front of us.
I heard Two Shakes and Virgin Mary Pistol Grip play in Lincoln a couple weeks ago. Much smaller venue, and I have to say that the person that was working the soundboard there was obviously at the smaller Lincoln venue. Obviously, didn't know how to do it because it just didn't really pull out the best sound for them. But hearing them tonight in a real venue, Two Shakes absolutely knocked it out of the park for me. I mean, when I heard them the first time, I was like, they sound great, but it's too bad that the soundboard guy just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the way they were playing, the waiting room, it's a great venue. I've been to many shows there, and I have seen many a band play.
Well, it's like 3
Quite
blocks
awesome,
or
man.
5 blocks from here.
Oh
So.
yeah, it's a nice place within walking distance. The waiting room, Omaha,
They
Nebraska.
do a good job.
Check it out.
So another thing I was thinking about tonight, just while we're listening to great music, we're eating good pizza. It's really good pizza. What pizza are we eating tonight?
The loaded tata.
We added some pepperoni and sausage from
Tater tots on a pizza. That's all you need.
That's
to
all
know.
you need to know. Tater tots
Tater
and
tots on a
nacho cheese.
pizza.
That's
Enough said.
Yeah, like leave it at that. Tater tots on a pizza. Go home, make yourself one, buy one, find one, and do whatever you have to do to get a pizza, tater tots, and put them in front of your face and eat them.
I can't have it.
Put the tater tots on the pizza. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, yeah, you can have tater tots separately.
Tater tots are good by themselves.
But like,
Let's all agree on
like,
that.
yeah.
But
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys
Enough about that.
I'm going to ask you about something that I think that maybe perhaps the late night crowd would appreciate. Okay, guys, really need to know right now.
Yeah.
Who's the best Mortal Kombat X character to play?
Whoa.
Mortal Kombat X,
That is
for those of you who don't know, is the most recent Mortal Kombat installment.
It's really good. By
It's
the way,
so good.
if you're interested in beating the shit out of your friends,
And then performing the greatest fatalities on them ever.
like brutally so. Like, I mean, almost. It's funny because it's so brutal that some of them are comical, and you're like, this is. I kind of want to laugh, but like. I don't, because he's being brutally
Because
killed.
he's
But at
being
the same
murdered
time,
in
the
the
way
worst
he's being
way
killed
possible.
is like being killed via like helicopter blade, but it's not a helicopter blade; it's a sword that's being rotated by telekinesis.
It's so awesome.
Anyway, back to the question.
Back to the question.
Throwing it back at Steven.
My personal favorite character, best character out there, has to be Air Mac. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The Gunslinger Edition?
No.
You're thinking Aaron Black. Aaron
Oh,
Black
Aaron
is
Black.
a great character. Don't
This
get me wrong.
shows you exactly how little I know about
Ermac
this
is
game.
this like mummy
He-
mystic guy.
He is Legion, he is many, and
Yeah.
he is out to kick your ass, honestly.
He is a magic user, and he is the length. He is a
Yeah.
distance kind of guy.
Oh yeah, he can
Keeps you at bay.
he can throw you away from him pretty easily, and then if you get away from him too far, he can definitely teleport just to the other side of you like it's nothing. So the entire character itself is literally built to just bat you around the map like it's nothing.
Is there one of the versions of the characters that's actually better than the others in?
I prefer Soul Master, which there's 3 variations of every character when you play Mortal Kombat X. For those of you who haven't been able to play it, each variation has different variations of specials or different combinations that might be available to your character.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna go on record. It's something I actually really like that they did about it.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's really interesting. Is that you have different variations. Obviously you have the same base
Yeah.
character,
Yeah.
but each variation has a little something, a little twist to it.
This
It'll like this character, like oh, he kind of does this now, or
Oh,
a certain
yeah.
mood.
This-
Maybe he's happy when he's fighting you. Maybe he's not this fun when he's fighting you.
Right.
So
This-
like
I'm
the
probably sure
characters
that's not there
themselves
for 'em.
can, kind of like mold a little bit to the individual user.
Exactly.
and how they play style.
Each character has a different type of play style. It makes it so that you have a lower number of players that are available. Don't get me wrong, if you've played like Mortal Kombat Armageddon or different ones, you're used to having 25, 30 different characters to play as.
Yeah.
But this one does a very good job of giving you a very good set of base characters, and the variations are the way to change it up. Each variation is going to be a different way for you to play, and there's some variations of characters that you become completely foreign to once you find a favorite variation
Oh, yeah.
within there.
And I think it adds a certain amount of complexity to it, but it also adds a certain amount, I guess, injects something of, people that play this game, they learn the characters, and so they become more intimate with the characters, and so they know certain variations. Excuse me.
Oh, absolutely.
And
But
so, I mean, you have this complexity, and so you don't necessarily have a wide variety of
So-
characters to choose from. You have a wide variety of battles to fight with.
So the question is like, which one is your favorite?
Mine?
Black and Soul Masters is.
Okay.
Ermac was my top
And see,
player.
this is one of the things that makes it really interesting for Steven and I, being, the main competitors, the ones that fight against each other pretty much all the time.
The most,
Is that
really.
we have fairly opposing fighting styles.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, Ermac is that long distance magic user. He keeps you at bay.
He
and
bats you away
around.
and keeps you at bay. It's the way he works.
I prefer a little bit more up close and personal touch. Me personally, my favorite character, and it's surprising, and I kind of just tried her on a whim. But my favorite character is Cassie Cage. That bitch knows how to kick some motherfucking ass.
Yeah, with Cassie Cage, Seth is a down and dirty brawler, up front in the face, and he keeps you up close, and he doesn't let you get away because that's all he
That's
needs
what
to
you gotta do. And it's funny because my favorite version of her is called Brawler. And it's just, her special attacks are just these brutal attacks. Just, breaking bones and cracking nuts. And I mean nuts, I mean the man.
Okay, so
he means it.
Okay, my history, as a lot of people know, or will learn to know here, is I'm like 25 years older than all these guys here.
He's so
I'm
old.
so old. And the thing is, I come from Super Nintendo. Yeah. I come from Super Nintendo.
He played Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, which I have to say I did as well.
Well, the great game.
But more than just Mortal Kombat.
Well, the great thing is that the place I worked at, Funkoland, shout out to Funkoland. If those of you who know what Funkoland is,
Congratulations.
you know what I'm talking about. Like, hey, Andy McNamara and Game Informer and all that stuff, everybody there, great people. Your family to me, as far as I'm concerned.
Thanks for the Batman picture.
And the hell, yeah, like Andy McNamara.
Cool.
Andy McNamara sent Seth a Batman picture that was made out of smoke, and it's really, really nice. And I think maybe perhaps we'll be able to post it up on the page, and you guys will be able to see what it's like. But it's really, really cool. But anyway, back in the day when we were doing that, in our break room, in the actual break room where we would hang out, we had NBA Jam.
Ooh,
The original NBA
I
Jam.
played that on Sega all the time. I used to have a Sega as a kid. 2 games I played the most: NBA Jam and Aladdin.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
And
I played
I'll tell-
Aladdin too. No fucking way.
Aladdin was the shit.
Aladdin was such a great game. Anybody second?
I collected all the apples.
Dude,
Okay,
all that.
Sega Aladdin was one of the best platform games that came out in the last.
It was
Wasn't
amazing. It was so simple, but it was so good. I mean, I remember, playing that game, Aladdin, and then playing as, just a person playing video games and going, subconsciously, Aladdin as a platformer.
Fantastic game.
Okay, but how many of you guys got really, really sick of the horrible collision detection in that game?
Oh yeah.
Where like you would swing something through the guy and he wouldn't
Oh
die.
yeah. There was
and
times where that game would just frustrate the hell out of me.
Like it was like, you're gonna die here. We're gonna take the heart from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Even if you do everything perfect, you're just completely screwed.
Yeah.
Also, there's this one game that I can't remember what it's on. But it was a helicopter. It was a top down.
Desert Strike.
Desert Strike.
Desert Strike.
I've had this conversation with you.
Yes, we've had this.
I remember I played it, and I remember as a kid, I loved Aladdin. I was able to play it through Aladdin so much, but I did not get what the fuck I was supposed to do. And then so all I did, what I knew I had to do, was fly around and literally blow everything up. Everything was great.
Level clear, right on.
And so as a kid, my understanding of video games was that enemies were to be destroyed, and good things would not be affected by whatever power or weapons that you threw out.
So in other words, you could destroy the whole Earth. you could char the entire Earth
Yeah.
and you wouldn't lose any points.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the thing, and so all I did was just fly around and just blow houses up. I would level them to the ground
Just
and pillage them.
You wouldn't pick up any of the
No,
the
I
people.
would. I mean, I would rescue people, and then I would lay out all the houses, and then there'd be like one thing that I'm forgetting to do, like the whole, like not blow everything up and like actually do the mission. And so as a kid, I was just like, I don't get this game. This is stupid, but I love blowing things up. So repeatedly played like the first few missions and just blew stuff up.
Okay, wait. The NSA thanks you, and it's a wonder you didn't get the helicopter pilot's license in the mail.
I mean, like,
They're like, show up
that's-
here.
I mean, it's because of me that I know that wasn't a test to see if, the youth of America could be trusted with handguns.
Absolutely. That has to be the case. I remember that game fondly. Another game I remember not being able to make it through. Did anybody else play Echo Dolphin?
I played Echo Dolphin.
Of course you did.
I loved Echo Dolphin.
Echo Dolphin was a great, artistically a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong. But after the second or third level, there was something that I literally would just go in circles around, and the dolphin drowns underwater because I'm so deep down. The only way you can like breathe is to like peck at these things on the walls,
Yes.
and then you breathe in the bubbles, right?
Right, you breathe in the bubbles,
Right.
and then you like your health meter or whatever.
Right. It refills magically. Well, I died around that time because I could never make it out of that maze that was the deep sea level.
It was the one where what you had to do is it was the old Konami code.
Yeah.
You had to go down, left,
Down,
right,
down,
Yeah.
down, right,
Yeah.
and then you would like essentially be there.
Yeah.
And it was like just a very direct. It didn't make any sense.
Of course not.
And then you had to go and like use your little echo waves to kill like a gigantic manta ray or something.
Of course I did.
And the worst thing about it was is that basically what that game was?
What?
The game was the ripoff of Metroid.
Oh, of course it was.
Of course it was.
That makes
You
so
look-
much
then you
sense
look at the
looking back on
structure,
it.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Structure.
If those of you who haven't played the either Nintendo version or the Super Nintendo version of Metroid, I strongly suggest you go out and get a Super Nintendo at some place that sells secondhand, Nintendo games
Yeah.
that are below, the PlayStation.
Right.
Go get that and go get Metroid. It's going to cost you about $50-$60.
Super Metroid is worth it though.
It's totally worth it. It's absolutely one of the best platform games that have ever been made.
Oh yeah.
Not only because of how cool and how awesome the various effects are, but that you can solve the game, you can beat the game without going through all the levels.
Oh yeah.
But you can spend hours just going through the extra adventures.
Just trying to learn everything.
Okay, so based on this talking about video games that we love in the past, a video game that I don't know, I have not recalled a conversation with either of you, really with anyone recently, about this video game. I remember playing it on PlayStation 1, and looking back on it, it kind of seems like it was supposed to be a mixture between kind of what Crash Bandicoot and Spyro were, and it's called Croc.
Croc. Oh yeah, where you're the Bayou Crocodile.
Yeah, you got like a
You wear
backpack.
you got backpack.
Third person
view.
view. It's like a platformer.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this. I never got to play it.
And one of your abilities was you'd
Oh,
flash
yeah.
your tail at
Yeah.
enemies and shit like that.
Croc was a fantastic game. I loved it.
Yeah.
I was maybe because at the time, at my age, I was a sucker for those kind of character platformers.
We all were, honestly.
Come on.
Everybody
It was
was.
80.
Exactly.
Okay, it started obviously with the Mario Brothers games.
Exactly.
It was perpetuated with Sonic,
Mhm.
and then it went into the games like Bubsy and fucking Crash Bandicoot and Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Country.
Maybe
stuff
you
like
can
that.
help me with this one.
Yeah.
There's this game, I think it was for Sega. It was a side scroller.
If you're
And
gonna bring up Kid Chameleon right now, I might reach over and kiss you.
hold on, maybe. And it was like you were a guy that transferred between comic books.
Okay, that is not. Kid Chameleon, but I
No.
know the game that it is it's Comic Kid.
Yeah.
And
And
what
you
you
like,
do is you go from cell to cell to cell, and you
yeah.
solve the
I
cell.
remember playing that and thinking it was the coolest fucking shit because it's like the art, because of the graphics at the time, looked like the comic books
Right.
at the time.
Right.
And it was almost like I feel like you were like a delivery dude or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
and then you got pulled into the comic.
Yeah, and it was just like the most stoner concept, like comic book concept, Just like, yeah, man, like I'm just delivering a pizza, and then like, whoa, like Bill and Ted get sucked into a comic book.
They just
You know,
ran
the funny,
that story.
but the funny thing is that I remember that game. I don't remember playing it much. To be honest with you, but we definitely sold that game a lot.
I love
reason
playing
why
that game.
the reason why I mentioned Kid
Maybe that
Chameleon is
means
because
something.
at the time when Sega came out, there was a few games that kind of identified it for being head and shoulders above Nintendo, but it came out after Nintendo before
Right.
Super Nintendo. And this is kind of fun that I can recall like history. I feel like I'm talking about like the dust storm and the fucking depression.
James Drake
Yes.
pulls out the encyclopedia that is his brain.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this old technology called Sega Genesis. See, Sega Genesis came out. It was originally called the Master System in Japan, and the whole idea was that it was 16-bit, whereas the Nintendo was 8-bit. And the idea was that they would have video games in the actual arcades,
Yeah,
and then they would turn and port it out to the Sega Genesis.
that's
The
awesome.
idea being, obviously, you play it. If it looks the same, it would be awesome. Altered Beast was one of the first ones that they came up. Yeah, Altered Beast is this thing where you start out as a dude, and if you killed enough guys, you had enough power to become the werewolf.
Oh,
And then you
dude.
would howl at the moon, and you would do all kinds of shit. It was a really cool game. But the game that really set Sega Genesis, the two games that really set Sega Genesis apart from everything else at that point, at the very beginning, two games. The first one was Sonic the Hedgehog.
I love
fuck yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog, obviously.
That game,
I had that one.
it was
yeah.
so
I played that one so many times.
because the problem that they had with the Nintendo's entertainment system when it first, started getting into platformers, you get too many sprites on the screen. What would happen? It would slow down.
Right.
And here, this game looked fast, it appeared fast, it rolled fast. And the other game that set it apart was John Madden, the original John Madden 92.
Oh,
original.
I had that
Original
one too.
Because up to that point, the only sports games that you really had were games like Tecmo Bowl, which was excellent, and Super Tecmo Bowl, which was
Right.
excellent. But the thing was that the Nintendo versions of those games were spritey and they didn't look realistic. This actually kind of put real, like, okay, for all of those of you who are listening now who are enjoying John Madden right now as it is, you have this game to thank because it established that players wanted to use strategy while they played video games.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so can I use that as a bridge
Yes,
to
absolutely.
talk about what video games are like today?
Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
we're talking about some really classic video games,
Really
right?
classic ones.
Okay, so something I want to touch upon is, me personally, I'm a fan of the horror genre. We're gonna learn.
Fun.
Like, I mean, I love it. I love it in movies. I love it in comics. I love it in books. I love it in video games. I think it's because, it spans the whole gamut from being taking itself seriously to taking itself completely comically and and all the way in between. It's I don't know, so wide. I don't know, range. Anyway, something in today's video games, they the line or the barrier between video games and movies.
It's being pushed so hard.
It is.
It's being pushed so hard. They have actors in almost every role.
Right, exactly. I mean, you see movie and TV actors now becoming voice actors
Absolutely.
for video games.
For video games, that's never been a thing before now.
Right. And getting wide press. You see You know how many people have seen a video game trailer just on TV, a TV spot, and go, "Whoa, that looks like a movie trailer, man."
Exactly. Like they have
You know,
real life people playing these characters that are a character in a game.
the cinematics, are becoming more cinematic. The game is becoming more cinematic. Some games really are throwing themselves into the fact of you are controlling the movie.
Yeah.
You are behind
Yeah.
the controls of some cinematic universe.
Because the technology that they have now allows them to do not only face capture but also phasing voice, like things with every celebrity that they can pull into the screen.
Oh yeah. So, and probably the most prominent example today is a video game that came out like a couple months ago, month and a half ago or so. It's called Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
Okay, so this game is, I haven't completed it yet, but it's amazing. I think I'm like halfway through.
At least halfway.
I gotta be halfway through. This game, essentially what it is it takes the idea of your kind of classic horror movie, teenagers in a cabin, something awful happens, supernatural, murderer, serial killer, blah blah blah. It all kind of packs it in. But what happens is, you're playing as every single character as these events unfold. And as these events unfold, as you play this character, the choices you make, as you're playing as, such a character,
Right.
affect how the story unfolds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So, you're playing as one character.
so it's like a horror story version of Babel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But like it's so complex. It bases itself very heavily on this butterfly effect.
Yeah.
And it's so many veins outreach.
No.
Obviously, the story reaches a certain point that it will always reach to, but how you get there is always going to be different.
Right.
But at the same time, you can see that just every choice is going to be
It creates a different path. And
exactly.
the worst part about it is that during the game there are items that you can pick up throughout the game that literally tell you the good and bad paths for you to follow. And you have to try to recognize these as they come along,
Like
little hints
premonition.
that they just throw out there. Like it's a 3-second little snippet of what's going to happen in the future, and it tells you whether it's a good or bad thing.
It shows like a little snippet of like maybe someone dying, like real quick. You don't see why, but you're like, oh wait, that's like Tony's. Like what?
Oh
And
man,
then,
they're
and then you're
dead.
playing as him, and you're like, holy shit, that was what I was playing. Oh no, man.
So you literally need to keep a lookout for these moments on the game where they're gonna say to you, "Hey, guess what? This moment's gonna be real important," but they don't give you the entire thing. You have to be like paying attention to every little detail in the entire thing for you to actually be able to pay attention to come out with the best results, essentially.
Well, I
and make the
think
characters live.
I think that's the real involved, idea behind the video games of today, is the amount of information that it can, store in terms of like what you've accomplished
Oh yeah.
and where you've been and what you've done, and literally tailoring the game around your choices
Well,
actively throughout the game.
and it's great. And one of the ways that it logs it is actually one of my favorite ways. It's like, it's called every time you do something that affects how the story outcomes, it's called a butterfly effect.
Right.
And it has like a little butterfly motif happen. And so it's logged on kind of the menu. And so there's a whole bunch of chapters because there's a whole bunch of, predicated circumstances or interactions that will occur. And how you interact with them is where the butterfly effect happens.
Right.
So when you go into that library of these kind of events, it's kind of like, and she
Well, it's a
said
lot-
he
Right.
did, and so it's like, well, she did this, well, he got offended by this, so this happened, and so it's kind of funny how you see this like little interaction play
The
out.
smallest things can affect
The
the
smallest-
largest.
It's so weird
the
because like
largest outcomes of the game.
it's a lot of it happens through the dialogue that you do it's like, these teenagers, like they're very much teenagers, and so it's, how characters interact with each other, and what sets them on a certain path is these stupid moments that you're just like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, someone, it looks like one dude's girlfriend is totally cheating on him, but then and he kind of right, you go, okay, so no, I feel like he kind of should be pissed about this, so you kind of get him a little pissed about it,
Yeah.
and he goes, yeah, oh yeah,
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh no, no,
I'm a
like
little
I'm gonna
pissed
say
about
something,
this.
like I'm gonna say something about it, and so then you go, yeah, okay, and then that storyline kind of progresses, and
Yeah.
then it
And then
happens that like. There's a confrontation, and he goes like, "No, like this shouldn't happen," and then like all of a sudden, like you ended up punching him, and now you look like an asshole, and you're like, whoa, 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 like this is not what I was trying to do here, like, and then like you're just like down a dark path, or maybe you're saying things in motion that you're like trying not to,
yeah,
and it's really interesting.
you have to take in the teenage like emotional like factor into every situation, which everybody's been there. But at the same time, do you remember what it was like, and can you pull off the right effect at the end of it? Who knows? It's really difficult.
And then at the same time, like you're trying to survive from God knows what, because like
Who knows what it is?
for the first half of the game, like, okay, I say that I'm halfway through it, and that's it. Like for the first fourth of the game, third of the game, you think you're trying to do this thing, and then you're like, wait, nope,
No.
this is actually what's going on.
Guess what? You were doing the wrong thing the entire
And so
time.
when just thinking about the logic that's behind a lot of the video games today, I think the thing that really comes really out to me is that we used to do things the hard way.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean,
You grind every single
every
little
single
bit.
thing, like you would spend. Well, okay, it starts with the game, like for example, Metroid. In
Let's
order
go
for you to be
way
able to-
back.
yeah, if you go way back, you go, or okay, we can go even further back.
Even further back?
We're gonna go to Commodore 64 Zork,
Oh god.
the text-based game that where everything that you did got you to a certain point, and the game was very simple in its application. It was
Right.
like almost like a choose your own adventure game. You would choose. You would say like look left, look right,
Oh man.
dig left, dig right. Like you
Simple
actually had to
commands.
tell yourself to do every little thing.
Everything.
So if you wanted to look for something or search for something, you had to actually type it in. So the thing is that this game got to the point where as you were playing it, it wasn't smart enough to go all the way back. You were actually in active mode playing the game, and I think that that's with the genesis of this kind of logic that they have with the games today, where making it to where it changes or modifies as you play it, because obviously that is how the real world works. But we were also rewarded way back in the day. If you think about just about every video game, kind of like genre or trope that exists. It started with games like on the Commodore 64, the original Nintendo system, or Atari system, sorry, where the games themselves were just about ideas.
Right.
You have made up, like you're not looking at that 8x8 pixel block and seeing a guy. You see a guy because you believe that's a guy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
it wasn't a far cry from what D&D was.
right.
Right.
It was almost just a digital version. It was almost
It's-
a more interactable, interpersonal version of D&D.
The dungeon master was the computer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The dungeon master was the computer.
Well, and see, the early role-playing games were very interesting. I remember when Final Fantasy, the very first Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior came out,
Right.
and I thought to myself, oh my God, I went to Walmart, 8 o'clock in the morning, freshman year in college, to buy Final Fantasy 1. It was $50 and it had maps. Like that was amazing. It had maps.
Maps.
And it had battery backup. I mean,
Dude,
like
people love maps.
People do love maps.
No, okay, so that's one thing that getting into the whole fantasy world, that's never been my forte. Like I've always been a comic man. I've always been a comic boy. Holy shit. do fantasy people love their maps?
They love their maps.
Okay.
And I learned that like it makes total sense. Like I totally get it because you know what? I remember my family,
Yeah.
and this is I don't know if I've actually ever talked to you about this like this.
Let's hear it.
My family, they one of the things that the artistic individuals did was they wrote this story about three ninjas, and they're modeled after my cousins. And there were three ninjas that went on this adventure to like reclaim
Was it the movie Three Ninjas?
no, it
Oh,
wasn't.
okay.
They were in a kingdom and they went to reclaim something that was stolen from their kingdom. And all the characters that they interacted with were, reflections of different family members and blah blah blah. Um, but it was just like I don't know, it was really interesting. I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, okay, here's the thing.
Eating too much pizza, dude.
Well, eating too much pizza, not, there's plenty of pizza.
There's more pizza, but I
There's
don't eat
more
it
pizza.
anymore.
Okay,
I'm sorry, but
it's got tater tots on it, so that's good. So here's the thing. I think of the old games like Zork and stuff like that, where they create these opportunities for us to learn how to do things in patterns.
oh, okay, I'm sorry, I totally got my
Okay,
train
so
of
now
thought.
Seth is going to
Cool,
interject
what's
back
up?
in. See, that's what I get.
So,
It's called a replay.
Anyway, so we created this whole universe, and my family created this whole universe where these three ninjas were traveling, kicking ass,
Kicking ass.
and that interacting with
These are
different
your
characters.
cousins.
Yes, interacting with different characters that were us, that were our family members.
Yeah.
Well, what they did is they created a map. They created a map of the entire area. But it was named after like our family and like all this shit.
Wait.
And I had a shirt. I remember having a red shirt with the map on it.
I've heard this.
Okay, so
Seth, are you Sly Cooper? You have a Thievius Raccoonus.
Maybe I do.
He does.
okay,
I'm
so
not gonna say yes or no to that.
I can tell you this much: fantasy people love maps.
Fantasy
So we
people
were
love
talking about
maps
Final
for a
Fantasy.
good reason.
It's
But,
so it's
like
such a
I didn't realize how much they love maps because I remember on like having
Can I get a slice of pizza?
on our
please?
convention table maps.
Yeah, give me a minute.
And they just looked at they always had them and they go, oh, these are cool, and they kind of looking at them and they go, oh, you can just take one, and then looking at the map, and then looking at me and going, no, and I go, no, yeah, and they're like, oh, wow, okay, and like, oh yeah, and I'm like, do you want to like look at my art? I'm like, no, I got a map, that's cool.
Okay, this is episode 1.5, so I get to say certain things that I wouldn't say, let's say, during episode 2 or during episode 1. One of them is that, you know who really loves maps?
Who loves maps?
Reed.
Reed
My
loves
son
maps?
Reed, yes.
Really?
5-year-old son. He loves maps. That's why he has a map of the United States and the world on 2 different walls. Because
Oh,
he
that makes
loves
sense.
having maps. And so we went into his kindergarten parent-teacher conference, and the teacher said, well, Reed loves maps, so we want to encourage that. We would love you to, talk about the states and the capitals and all that stuff. And I said, well, he already knows them. She goes, oh, she does?
What?
Or he does? And yeah, he already knows them.
Reed knows that.
Yes, I could say, where's Florida? And he would point right where Florida's at.
And he says, what's the best football team? And he says, Iron Man Hobbits.
oh, the Iron Man Hobbits. Yeah. Okay, so a quick little story about good old
You know what?
Reed.
I'm sorry to interject, but one of the Inktober illustrations that I have to do is an
The Iron Man
illustration of the Iron Man Hobbit.
The Iron Man Hobbit.
Okay.
Because it's long overdue.
Way long overdue, and I think that Reed deserves that.
You know, we all deserve it.
We all deserve it.
But
I
most
think
of all,
that-
Reed.
Most of all, Reed, because he is going to be the crown prince of everything that we're doing here, and whether he wants to be that or not, he is kind of
No.
getting that.
No choice.
No
One of
choice.
us. One of us. One of us.
So anyway, Reed, the amazing thing about this kid is that he's 5 years old and he knows more Marvel characters than I do, and he
Not
humbles
more than
me.
me, though. Let's just be clear about that.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, he believes that
5 years
Seth
old. I'm
Penn
competing with
is
a
Bruce
5-year-old.
Wayne.
Oh, James, here's your pizza.
Thank you for my slice of pizza.
Okay, yeah, no, like, can you just repeat that one more time?
Okay. Seth Penn, he believes is Bruce Wayne. Okay, so this is how this came up. He
No,
believes,
this is true.
yeah, and he
If-
believes that Seth is Batman. Therefore, he is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So when he was going through everything and all the relationships, he knew that Seth and I were great friends, and he said, well, then does that make James Alfred?
Yes.
And of course, Stephanie, beautiful wife, said without hesitation, well, yes, Reed.
Of course.
That's exactly what James is.
Now,
The
I
silver-haired old man
No.
is Alfred.
I never would have said this because if I would have been there, I'd been like, no, dude, James Drink's like my Nightwing, yo.
He's
Like, I'm
Really?
Batman, he's Nightwing.
really.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna say that I am Batman, James Drake is Nightwing
Is
because
Nightwing.
I mean that's my personal opinion because, like, I'm sorry, but personal tangent right now. If we're gonna talk, Batman is the best, but I mean, right below Batman is Nightwing, like best Bat ally, best Bat affiliate, best anything that has like ever done anything with Batman.
I'm sorry, Seth, but this doesn't make me feel much better.
I'm sorry.
You're still a sidekick,
I'm literally trying to find a way where this is not an insult.
Fine, no, like, you know what? I'll be Nightwing, dude. I love Nightwing.
Okay, you love Nightwing, but
That doesn't make James Drake Batman, though.
yeah, what am I?
is-
Am I the
what is
fucking Joker?
James? You know what? That's not my job to make you feel better about this, okay? I'm
That's
just
true.
commenting on the situation, dude.
Well, okay, so the point is that Reed
Right.
believes that Seth is Batman and that I'm Alfred, which I guess I'll be Alfred.
There's so
Nightwing,
much
which
more
one's
that-
better?
Okay,
Which
but
one's
no,
better?
but here's the thing, man. Like, Batman would not be Batman if he didn't have Alfred, because Alfred just literally puts him back together. How many times?
Every time.
He is there for him.
All the
Kind of
time.
reminds me of the
Alfred is
backup party.
there.
I mean, I had to kind of put you back together there.
Okay, hold
man.
on. Okay, you know what? We're not talking
Wow.
about that right now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
You gonna put me back together?
Wow.
Really?
Back
All right.
together?
Little pieces.
Just because I knocked on not my door.
It's the neighbors across the street.
Why don't you love us? Well, the interesting thing here is that going back to Final Fantasy and maps, we somehow we came all this
Why
way.
turn?
Why turn? But we're gonna go back to maps.
You might as well bring it around. Like,
My turn. That's
It's
what happened when
because
Seth
it
is
was
in charge.
those- I digress. We all digress. The thing about maps is that maps, I think, in a world where you're creating new things, is necessary. It gives kind of like some grit to the imagination. It makes it a little bit easier for us to grasp what is going on.
Right. And everybody has maps. Let's
oh
be
yeah. Well,
honest.
I mean, what the thing is about it. You know, you're on this epic fantasy. You're on this journey.
Yeah.
You're falling with these people.
You're going from this place to this place. Hey, wait a second. Wait.
Where is this?
Where is this place? I've never been on this place
And by
before.
just simply seeing a map, you know, it's almost, you know, you can relate to the characters and go, oh, maybe this is what they're looking at. But even just beyond that of going, okay, like I can just see logistically where we are.
Yeah.
And how it is, and okay, ooh, this is like a really cool journey, and this is epic. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, I see why this may have been like such a bad like deterrent. Like,
Do you see where that
maybe-
river bend is
maybe-
at?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but here's what maps really did for me. What they did, the reason why I liked maps so much in fantasy is that it put in perspective places that couldn't be,
Oh yeah. Like
that didn't exist, that couldn't exist. And the thing was is that there was an artistry about them, like Lord of the Rings.
let's
I
be
mean,
honest.
Who didn't look at the map over and over and over again?
All the
and-
time.
all the time. And
Well-
you know, I had the edition that had the fold-out maps with
Oh,
the
of
red
course.
lettering,
Right.
and all I wanted to do is one day write a story that was worthy of a large map like that.
Right.
That would be be something people would dream over.
And I know
That's not gonna happen.
100%
Yes, it
certainty
is.
that the map that my family did based on that Three Ninja story
Right.
is completely based or structured off of that Lord of the Rings map. Because,
Dude.
I mean, remembering on what it was like, I don't have that shirt, I don't have that map anymore. But I remember what it looked like, and I obviously know what Lord of the Rings looks like. I mean, I have those maps and whatnot. And um, they're so similar, and it's just so cool. And I remember just like, oh, okay, like that's, you know,
The thing about
explains a lot.
so Final Fantasy, the thing that drove me nuts about it was that it had these maps that told you about the places that you haven't been yet.
Oh yeah.
So you'd be like, you have these, like,
What?
where am I going to use this map?
Right.
Like, how am I, how does this matter to the game? And so it would drive you forward. So a friend of mine, his name was John Hilmer, and I, at South Dakota State University in 1990, we sat and played that game for 3 days straight.
Really?
Yeah,
3
days
days.
straight. We
You're
did.
talking like 72 hours.
Well, okay, we took shifts. We took shifts, and how it worked out was that I played for the first 12 hours. He played for the next 12 hours. I played him. So
So
occasionally
you
in
guys-
between we would get sleep, and
So you did sleep in
we
between.
did sleep in between, but
yeah.
we were sleeping like right next to the person who was playing because the person who was playing needed some information.
This must have been before Sugar-Free Monster then.
It was before everything.
Okay.
No, you know what you had? You had Mountain Dew, and that was it. That's why I drink the Mountain Dew that I drink. It's because, I was hooked when I was 20, which was,
Of course.
Before half of the listeners were born.
The prime time when Mountain Dew was beginning out and becoming the famous drink that we all know and love.
Right, exactly. And, Mountain Dew was...
It was meant to be a sour replacement. Bullshit.
Mountain Dew... No, listen to
Not
this.
made to be a sour
Mountain Dew
replacement.
was Red Bull before Red Bull was Red Bull.
That makes sense.
In other words, there's a reason why it's called, Hillside Meth or something like that. It's because, in some places it is a big problem.
Meth of Red Bull.
Yeah. So anyway, we were staying up late. We finished this game in 72 hours, and it was absolutely amazing. And I think that probably the thing that I really liked about it the most was the fact that you could save the game without like having to write down that code. And you would for some crazy reason, these guys were masochistic bastards. They would put B's and zeros in for O's and 8s. Like
So
seriously.
what system was this on?
This was okay for the original Nintendo.
Oh,
it
Nintendo.
Had,
okay, that
yeah,
makes
the original
sense.
Nintendo had a battery backup for Final Fantasy, so you could save your game right to the cartridge. You didn't have to sit down and write down that fucking 25.
No, I know
You know,
exactly.
code.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Seriously, guys, enough with the zeros and the 8s and the O's. Enough for the 8s and the B's, okay? We're done with that now. And same thing with all of you guys that do that shit. What's that? The thing where CAPTCHA.
Oh yeah.
Like they have a number of their. Okay, am I supposed to do capital letters or lowercase?
CAPTCHA,
Yeah.
time out. CAPTCHAs can stay in just because they create fantastic stories.
Are you talking about this like
the Are You a Human
No.
Being?
No, I'm not talking about that at all. But that sounds really interesting.
Yes. The ones where you put in the
One
C's or the letters?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones where they
They made a book.
No, the CAPTCHAs.
Yes.
When you say it's a
That's what
security
they're called.
measure.
Yes.
As in,
Welcome to the
as in
21st
like
I know that.
here is a random series of letters and numbers. Enter it so we know that
Didn't
you
I just say
are
that?
not a robot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yes.
So that when I continue about what I'm going to talk about, I
Okay.
don't sound like an idiot.
It is.
Well, okay.
He's talking about those.
I completely agree.
You
You're
just
talking about the same thing.
Okay. Do you mind if okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so CAPTCHAs, I mean, so because you brought this up, and I feel like you purposely did this.
I did in fact.
CAPTCHAs actually have one of the most significant, okay, so CAPTCHAs.
This is a story about CAPTCHAs by Seth Russell.
Wait. All right. And is this no shit like you're actually gonna tell me a story now?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like I've told you this
Oh
before.
no,
You've heard this.
Oh
I
yeah,
really don't think I have.
there's a comic book idea that I myself have. It's called Frankenstein.
Right, I know that.
You know,
Maybe he doesn't know.
the undead superhero.
Yes.
The undead superhero.
Exactly.
The lyrical sounds of
Yeah.
Stephen LeVay.
Anyway, a Frankenstein sort of superhero. Anyway, not important. You will find out. In time. Anyway, the inspiration from this for this weird story was from an internet cashier because I don't remember what I was trying to do. I don't, I was probably like trying to set up like a bank account.
He was trying to log into something.
Yeah, so I could
And
like
he said, "Hey,
you know,
Seth,
Are you
prove
a
to me that
robot?
you're a human being."
prove to me that you're not a robot.
And so it put up a random set of 2 words,
And
and
it
those
said-
2 words were
It said Frankenstorm.
Freakenstorm.
And I'm like, what? And I'm sitting there with my roommate at the time. And I'm looking at him like, what? It says Frankenstorm. He's like, that's weird. I'm like, right, that is weird. My brain was instantly just shot in space. I was like, Frankenstorm, that sounds like a superhero name. And then I just started thinking about like Frankenstein, Frankenstorm, but superhero, like undead superhero, and then like boom, right from there.
Okay, wait. Okay.
It was weird. I was eating subs.
Yeah.
He was eating subs.
Charlie subs.
You
I
were
was
you were
thinking
eating
too.
subs and pizza at the same time.
And pizza. There was pizza.
Well, I mean later.
So okay.
I'm not a fat ass.
So here's the thing. Well, that remains to be seen.
Hey,
Hey, I'm
I'm a very gentlemanly.
Okay, so Frankenstorm was based off of a captcha you got,
It was inspired by one.
inspired by one.
Entirely inspired.
Okay. Here's the thing: whether it be
So
captcha or it be codes that you had to put into 8-bit Nintendo in order to be able to resume your game. I hate it when they put in 8s, Bs, zeros, Is, ones, Ls, lowercase Ls for that matter, and zeros.
Because James is nearsighted.
Well, I wear glasses for a reason. That is true. But the problem here is I don't think anybody here would ever argue the fact that is not sometimes confusing.
It is.
I'm sorry. It is confusing. And then with
I'll be
8-bit
honest.
Nintendo, it wasn't like you were getting high-def graphics on the letter. It could be a B, it could be an 8. You had to try it both ways sometimes to make sure you had it right. So,
That was kind of where the skill came in, though, right?
well, that was it was a skill to save the game.
I was like, that was what separated the mice from the men.
It was like a mini game inside Nintendo. It's like, can you figure out what the code is?
The
I think
extra
they're
puzzle
your game.
I've never wanted to
on
play.
purpose. They're like, you know what? There's gonna be a few that will know.
That was the beginning of Leet.
And
That
they
was the beginning of Leet language.
and they will be our soldiers.
There were 5% of people who
They will
actually
march
could
us to
see
the
the
gates of
correct.
Valhalla.
They could actually see the correct
You
numbers.
arrived shiny in chrome. Witness me! I'm putting in my code!
And now for something completely different.
Okay, so I want to talk about, for just a brief minute before we close up here,
Of course.
I want to talk about a movie that has really, really inspired me.
Ooh.
Oh, what is it?
And I want to talk about Mad Max,
Oh,
Fury Road. I want
course
to talk
you do.
about this movie because, I don't think it got quite the reception I expected it to get from a visual standpoint. Even though,
really?
I think that there was a limit to what it could do because people were worried that it was going to play too much on the Mel Gibson version, especially last
I
night.
think what happened was is that initially it didn't have this initial, this movie is awesome. But when I watched it, that was my reaction.
It was awesome.
Oh,
To be
yeah, I
honest.
think what happened was it's kind of this
Yeah.
And you kind of had this thing where all of a sudden it kind of sunk in, and everyone, it was a point where everyone watched it, and everyone kind of silently was like, um, so that movie was really kick-ass.
That was
Yeah,
fantastic.
And everyone's just like, yes, yes, it was.
Well, it was one of
It's,
those movies where I think that you looked at your friend and you were almost, it was so, there were some parts of it that were so over the top, both in its violence and in its
Right,
I mean,
right.
but
But
I remember you told me before you had seen it before I watched
Right.
it, and you told me, okay, so the first 20 minutes are just gonna be like, you will not be able to, you'll be holding your breath the entire
I
time.
was crazy. I literally, when I watched it the first time, I thought that I had PTSD
Yeah.
after the
Well, I
first
remember,
15
I
minutes.
remember them being like, okay, so like the first 20 minutes are just like so insane, and like it just sets the tone for the entire movie. I'm like, okay, okay, whatever, yeah, okay. I'm like, I've heard some so-so things, but I've been looking forward to this movie, and then I saw, it, and I was just like, I remember watching it and just being like, holy shit! And then like the first 20 minutes, like I'm like watching this whole thing and this whole thing play out, I'm like, and then like the whole Mad Max, whoosh, and I'm like,
And
and I'm like,
and
and I'm
then
like,
you get
what? He's right. Oh, this movie's gonna be sick. And
and,
it
and,
was.
and then the crazy thing about it is at that particular point, the movie switches from being about Max and
Max.
about Furiosa.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
but
I
you know
think
what?
that's amazing
Oh, they did a
that
good
they
job with
managed
it.
to do that movie.
It's a whole different thing about it. Is
Oh
that
yeah.
like it was a Mad Max movie, most definitely existed in his universe. It was, you know,
It's
a story.
Furiosa's
It
story.
was a story that would not have existed if Mad Max wasn't there.
Right.
Oh right.
But it was most definitely and unequivocally Furiosa's narrative.
It was entirely her story.
But
Right.
at this, like I said, it existed within Mad Max's world.
The reason why we got
The
the
only-
movie, the reason why we
you
got
saw
the
it.
story is because Max saw what happened.
Exactly,
Oh, yeah.
and it's essentially, in a way, I think the movie was Mad Max's lens. It's like, it was a Mad Max movie in the sense that you were looking through his lens of
Oh, yeah.
what his world was.
Of course.
It was, you got to see him and like you got to see, some really cool Mad Max moments.
Different versions of him from being like just strapped down to a car as it speeds through the fucking desert to
Oh, yeah.
like everything else that he did.
But like most importantly, you got to observe the people that exist in Mad Max's world
Yeah.
like he would.
I think
So it was a Mad Max movie as if you were Mad Max himself.
well, I think the crazy thing about the story itself is that when it's all said and done, they made it. They did really, in my opinion, the impossible. They made a movie where you could have the next movie about Furiosa, or you could have the next movie about Max, and you wouldn't have a problem with it.
You wouldn't
Yeah,
have a
it's like
next one.
it's like a Mad Max adventure. Like that's the thing is, it's like people say like, oh, you couldn't make another one after that. I'm like, you know what? I beg to differ because
They easily
I feel
they
like
wanted.
it's easily just to go. Because did you see him? He just kind of like wandered off. Wandered off to his next adventure in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. There's adventure boundless.
And what could they
in a
do then?
post-apocalyptic
They wouldn't
wasteland.
even make it about Mad Max. Mad Max is there.
Right.
They would make it about a
They
different
could
character
keep doing
entirely.
it. They
Over
could
and
have
over.
that same kind of thing, but at the same time, they could also shift it where it is full throttle Mad Max.
Okay, the reason why I bring up Mad Max is because leading up to the Karmic Nerd podcast episode number 1, my hope was that I was going to be able to get Tom Hardy to be a guest on the show. I was actually
Right.
talking to his agent, and she was very, very, helpful and everything. Unfortunately, he's actually filming in the middle of Australia right now,
Really?
and that's why he couldn't be on the show. Now, it doesn't mean he would have accepted the invitation, but the fact that he was in Australia all the way probably, makes it part of the point. But
Do we know what he was filming?
I do not know what he was filming,
Darn
but
it.
it could very well be. I mean, considering the success overall for Mad Max, it could very well be the next one because, of
Oh,
course,
man.
they filmed it there. They filmed it in Tunisia.
Right.
You never know really what they're gonna do there.
Just places with
That would
sand.
be cool. I mean, personally, I would like to be.
I mean, if I have to give him up for this podcast as a guest, I don't even know what he would have done on this show. But if he would have been here
He's
on the
been
show,
there.
giving up for that,
I would have liked that for a while.
Okay,
He would have been
now
there.
have either of you seen some of his other work, like
Oh,
Bronson
yeah.
or?
Bronson? Oh,
Oh,
my God,
yeah.
it's an amazing
Bronson.
film. Bronson, I love. He's so good. Oh, Bronson. Okay, so when I watch Bronson, and I'm like, Tom Hardy, holy shit. Where did he come from?
Yeah.
This dude was crazy.
Yeah, he's so good.
So awesome.
So
Well, let's talk about a movie he's coming up in
Also-
right now is The Revenant,
Yes.
and that's with Leonardo DiCaprio playing Hugh Glass.
Yes.
And
That's
from what I
that looks
understand,
like it's going to be just really fun film.
well,
yeah,
it's not gonna be fun. It's definitely gonna be
fun
fun.
in the sense that you like.
You know when you're watching it, you're watching something that's going to be an Oscar contender. Well, you know it's going to be an Oscar contender. I mean, there's a reason why they're releasing it now.
I think
that Tom Hardy right now at this point in time, short of Chris Evans and whatnot. Chris, who's the other Chris? The one that's from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. I mean, Chris Pratt, and they have the Chris's, the Chris Pratt, Chris Bryant.
What was cool was that.
No. Who's the other guy? I was just talking about Chris Evans.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Thomas Hardy. Those four guys. Those are the four guys that are knocking down Hollywood.
Okay,
right now.
yeah, and what was cool was that there is talks that Hugh Jackman is just like, hey, someone's gonna take up the mantle of Wolverine.
Wolverine at any point in time? Who would that be?
Ding ding ding. Tom Hardy.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, Tom Hardy would be amazing.
Okay. Now,
That's pretty sad.
now think about this.
That's what he was
But he
rumored to
would
say.
be.
At the same time, they're talking about Chris Pratt as being a replacement for Harrison Ford.
Chris
Chris Pratt.
Pratt?
Chris Pratt.
In terms of
Anderson
wait,
Floyd.
In terms of
I'm
Raiders
sorry.
of the Lost Ark.
That's crazy.
What?
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way.
Are you
No,
saying they're
they're-
making more Indiana Jones movies?
They're talking about making more Indiana Jones movies and putting Chris Pratt in a young, like pre-Harrison Ford age, like 20-something,
You
like
saying-
young Indiana
Are you
Jones.
saying
movie.
young Indiana Jones?
Not exactly. Past that, like between young Indiana Jones and the movies, we would have Chris Pratt. And
Dude.
that's
Like-
Oh wait! Are you talking about like Shia LaBeouf's character? Please don't be saying
Middle-aged
that.
Indiana
Okay, good.
Jones.
No, fuck that dude.
Just making sure. I
No,
just
no.
wanna,
What
like,
they're talking about, what they've been going bouncing around, is that Chris Pratt is basically Harrison Ford, from both the like an appeal aspect and the character aspect. And the
Doesn't
way he
mean
does
he's necessarily
No,
Indiana
no,
Jones.
no. And so what they've been doing is they've been grooming him for the idea of putting him into an Indiana Jones
I
reboot.
mean, I'm not saying that he couldn't do it, but I'm
No,
not
he-
saying that he's also.
That's
Like,
why. Okay, I'm going to
he's
blow
trying-
your mind. I'm going to blow both of your minds
Do
right
it,
now.
do it.
That is why he in Jurassic World is wearing the vest that he's wearing.
No.
It is because
Really?
of that.
Really?
They're starting to already engineer this whole thing.
You
I'm
know,
telling you right now.
here's the thing, though.
I
I'm not watch it,
but
I don't know. It's just I would watch that. I think that's an interesting concept. At the same time, though,
Yeah.
I feel like Chris Pratt could do so much more just on his own.
Yeah.
right. But that's the thing is that's what
Yeah.
we've come
He
to
could create
expect.
his own characters.
But that's what we've come to expect of Hollywood.
Lord.
Well, think about it. he is Star-Lord. He's definitely going to be in the Civil War movies.
Right.
He's definitely going to be in the Apocalypse movies.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be involved in all of that stuff. We know that. But that's part of the whole deal. That's what his appeal is. Is Hollywood knows that they can bank on certain things.
That's what they made him sexy.
That's why they.
Oh,
Have you guys seen him in the movie Wanted? Do you guys remember him
He
in
was
the
in
movie?
Wanted?
He was in Wanted.
Wait, you're
He
talking
was
about
the-
like Angelina
he was-
Jolie Wanted?
Yeah, Angelina Jolie
was he
and
in?
James McAvoy. He was the
Oh,
roommate of
yeah,
James McAvoy.
he was.
I remember that.
He was
Holy
having-
shit, that was Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. James McAvoy like rapped a keyboard on his
And
face.
said "fuck you" on
Yeah.
it. Right? Yeah.
That's right. That was it.
That was him?
I
Holy
forgot.
shit.
I forgot.
I didn't know it was Chris
Because
Pratt.
of course James McAvoy's roommate Chris Pratt
yeah.
was having sex with James
Yeah.
McAvoy's
Right.
girlfriend.
Right.
While he wasn't there, and that's why he had to end up paying for
Right.
Red and rubbers, is because he dropped his wallet at his.
That's Chris. Yeah, that was Chris
house.
Pratt.
Yeah, it was Chris Pratt. So we juxtapose that individual, okay, who had a very minor role, but yet, prominent role
Right.
in that movie,
Right.
to the Chris Pratt we know now. It's all about creating an image.
Dude.
Look, let's be really honest here. This guy, after the success of Jurassic World and Guardians of the Galaxy, we're talking about two movies that combined probably made, $3-4 billion worldwide.
Right.
We're talking really huge enterprises here. He is going to be given whatever opportunities he can
Of course.
to carry forward whatever he needs to do. And people started saying, hey, at this point we're, he's like kind of like a Harrison Ford character.
He's doing everything that Harrison Ford did when he was young.
Right. Well, and the thing is what's going to end up happening, and I think that we can see this. The writing's on the wall. I'm going to claim it here first. That in the new Han Solo movies that they're going to do, the backstory movies that they're going to do about him, I would bet dimes to dollars Chris Pratt plays
Plays a
Harrison
young
Ford.
Han Solo
Yeah,
in the
plays-
new Star Wars
yeah,
movies.
that's right.
Dude.
I would say the even money's on him.
Even money.
Like, unless they go outside and just pick a complete unknown that nobody's ever seen, Chris Pratt's been doing for these films.
Of course. Well, that makes sense. Over the many years, they have done a fantastic job. They gave him the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which got him from his roles in Parks and Recreations, where we all loved him as a comedian,
Yeah.
and turned him into a serious action star, in one movie.
Well, and the thing was, is the great thing that they did with him is they nosed him into that position.
Oh yeah.
Like the early parts of what he was doing with Guardians of the Galaxy were less about action and more about his comedy. And as you go through the movie, he slowly develops this action and personality. And I think that was a transition film for him.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I think people like us have always been attracted to about Chris Pratt is that he's been a fanboy like us. He's
Oh
always,
yeah.
he's always been someone that has admired those kind of things, and who here, if given the opportunity, would not play that kind of character?
I know.
Absolutely.
If
Everybody
someone
would.
came up to me and go, hey, you know what? James Drake. So here's the thing.
Yes.
I feel like you're just perfect
Yes.
for playing
Yes.
Skywalker.
Absolutely. Yes.
Like,
I'll do it now.
well,
I don't care. I'm overweight and I'm old, but I'll play 50
Well, here's
years
the
Luke
thing.
Skywalker.
Here's the thing.
No, fuck you. Give me the lightsaber.
Exactly.
Well, are we going to turn it down? No, I'm not going to turn it down. You wonder why the poor guy who was Anakin Skywalker in episode 1, that poor kid. Okay, seriously, the kid's all fucked up now. But literally for 2 years, the whole world thought he was Darth Vader. I mean, that's serious.
Yeah.
How about that for pressure? I'm sorry, kid, you get to act like Darth Vader as a kid.
Because everybody knew.
Well, everybody knew
That's
it.
the way that- that's the way
And
that
the thing is
happens.
that by the time he gets to the point where he's done with episode 1, and he's made these cashless checks and everything like that. Jake Lloyd, that's his name, right? Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd, if you're out there, I have a message for you. This is from your Uncle James.
From our hearts.
From our hearts. It's
love you.
not your fault.
We don't blame you.
We
We
don't
love you.
blame you
I
for
didn't
what
blame
happened.
you for 1 second. Every single time I looked into your eyes,
All I saw was
I
pod
knew
racers.
it wasn't going to be your fault.
It wasn't your fault, man.
It wasn't your fault.
Us at the Karmic Nerd podcast officially forgive Jake Lloyd for his portrayal of Anakin Skywalker at a young age. I think I think that we should just go ahead and just we're gonna start that right now. Each
Yes.
show we're gonna pick one individual. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault, Jake.
It's not your fault,
Jake Lloyd, it's not your fault.
And so today's podcast, episode 1 and episode 1.5, today's It's Not Your Fault goes to Jake Lloyd. It's not your fault, brother. Keep up the peace.
I was with you the entire time. That speech that you gave to Padme inside the little bar area, so romantic for a
Come on.
9-year-old.
Wait.
Time out. We're forgetting the best part about him is the pod race, obviously.
Okay, oh,
Everybody
It's
knows.
a boba.
yeah, no,
Everybody
no,
knows the
that-
way he took
that-
down Saboba.
that
in the
goes
pod
without
race.
being said, man. But like,
Okay, but we forgive this guy. We don't
We do.
have to talk about it anymore. We forgive this guy.
You're right.
Okay,
You're right.
So
Yeah, but,
today's
move on.
forgiveness,
I mean, we still can't.
we of the Karmic Nerd podcast officially pardon Jake Lloyd from his participation in episode 1. Because we all know Jar Jar Binks fucked that fucking shit up.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all Jar Jar Binks' fault. And
No, I mean, yeah.
well, that
Yeah.
and Phantom
No,
Menace dying.
can we blame the Ewoks? Is there a way we can do that?
No. There's no way that
The Ewoks have enough
any other
money.
way. The Ewoks don't bear the weight.
Okay,
they
so-
only bear the weight of Return of the Jedi. And
Right.
The portion of Return of the Jedi.
The Yum Yum song.
You know what? What's amazing? The most amazing thing about the Return of the Jedi is that it's the best one, despite the fucking Ewoks.
No. Oh, wait. We're gonna have words here. You said Return of the Jedi is the best one.
Well,
No. Okay, hold on. For everybody that's listening out there, I want a comment, either hell yes or hell no, that Empire Strikes Back is the best of all 6 of the movies, hands down, without a doubt. If you agree with me, I want a hell yes on our page. If you disagree with me and you think it's either the first one or Return of the Jedi or fuck you, 6, whatever. Okay? The bottom line is that if you believe that, I want a hell yes or a hell no. Hell no means it's not Empire. Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie of all time. Introduces the theory of mine is that the second volume of any really, really high quality or well respected work is generally considered one of the best.
Oh yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. I agree. The second one is absolutely amazing. I think honestly, maybe this is gonna sound weird.
No shit.
The second one is the best. It really is. It is because it just is because of all the things that you said, and it's.
Everything about the movie was fantastic.
Okay, the third movie, here's the problem I have with the third movie.
Here's the thing.
Is that
As a small child, I watched the third movie,
Three
and I
different
watched
times.
this scene where Luke Skywalker walked in all black and fucking pwned Jabba the Hutt, who was supposed to be him. He was like the granddaddy master, all right? And then he made him look like a bitch for like the first 45 minutes of this film.
Okay.
He made him look like
killed
a
the
bitch.
Rancor He killed the Rancor. He ultimately allowed
Right.
himself to escape from the Sarlacc pit.
Right.
And he escaped Boba Fett. Oh,
But
okay,
wait, time out. This enters in a whole new factor that, wait a second, Boba Fett survives. That's confirmed.
Okay.
So Boba Fett's the badass in that situation. Who the fuck cares about Luke Skywalker?
Okay, this is me as a child, man. I found out that Boba Fett survived at the age of 25. Thank you very much.
All right.
I've always known that Boba Fett was a badass.
Little badass.
But I'm just saying that, like, the pure action moments that, like, stood out to me as a young child of the Return of the Jedi were just, I was just so captivated by them. I remember I remember being at a swimming pool and walking on the deck and looking back and then like reenacting the scene
Okay.
and like jumping and like
Are
grabbing.
you telling me you like nodded at like 7 different people?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, I appreciate that.
Oh.
But do you know what it's like when you have Return of the Jedi coming out 2 years after Empire Strikes Back? You go sit and watch Empire. Han's in carbonite.
Yeah. He's basically dead.
Is Darth Vader the father, or is he just fucking with Luke?
Who knows?
Like, you didn't have any idea. So Return of the Jedi, when it came out, you knew two things were going to happen. You were going to find out definitively whether or not Darth was the father.
Whether or not Darth
Like, it was
Vader
like
stood
Maury
for Dark
Povich.
Father or not.
It was like a Maury Povich like TV show before Maury Povich.
Like the worst.
Like, yes, Darth, you are the
Time out,
father.
time out. Shout out to all the German folks out there who heard that and knew that Darth Vader meant Dark Father.
Yeah.
And knew that Darth Vader was the father the entire
It
time.
means Dark Father.
Okay, but in 1982, in Burking, South
It's
Dakota,
obvious.
unless you took
They're telling you what it means.
German class, you didn't know that shit. You still had to sit there and wait all the
Mr.
way.
American, and you speak American
Well, okay, it was South Dakota.
like most of us do here in America,
Okay, so
where Star Wars was born and raised.
it was actually filmed in Tunisia, but that's okay.
Are you
That's
telling
Either
me?
way, it was
Okay,
born and raised in America.
there was an act called the Star Wars Act at some point in time, James. It was born in America, and you know.
okay. All right. I grew up in the 80s. All I can say is one thing. I don't really care. I really don't. That stuff is so old to me now that it doesn't even really even exist on my radar. I mean, I have underwear older than that shit, but I still don't think about it.
Throw those away.
So, anyway, well, I'm just fucking kidding.
All right.
Okay, the point is
Moving on.
that Darth Vader, you spent a couple summers wondering and debating with your friends, is he really Luke's father? You
Right.
had that whole moment.
I never
You
had
guys
that.
don't
moment.
have that moment. You guys had it for 15 minutes between when DVD 2 and DVD 3 were put in.
No, I mean, like, I always knew that he was.
Right. I mean, some people just
Before I
assumed it.
watched
But
it,
there
I
was
knew he
actually
was. I remember that.
Everybody told you at that point.
right, like it was like almost finding out that Santa Claus isn't real. Sorry, kids, if you're listening to this, you're fucked already. So, um,
Although, I will say, I didn't know that Batman wasn't real.
Yeah, Batman wasn't real. Another story, Seth.
the funny thing
We'll
is
say
that,
that.
considering that Reed thinks you're Batman, that's kind of funny. It's just, he doesn't think
Is
I'm
it
Batman. I'm
I mean,
Alfred.
here's the thing that I remember accepting that Santa Claus wasn't real, just like with the most ease. Essentially going, essentially like the same acceptance as my parents going, hey, so I'm sorry, but we're gonna have macaroni and cheese for dinner tonight. And going, okay, cool. And so I'm sorry, but Santa Claus isn't real. Okay, cool.
Not a problem.
Okay, so
But when my mom, for whatever reason, I can't remember. I think it's because I was being unruly of some sort. Just decided to just breach the warhead and go, Batman's not real.
It killed him. It killed him.
I just lost it.
Dude.
I mean, my mom told me Batman wasn't real. I had this like 3 foot Michael Keaton plastic figure that I loved, and I took it, and that was the day I lost it because I took this, and the furious rage that coursed through my veins and hearing that Batman wasn't real threw Batman at my mom and my friend Scott.
I think that
And I lost it that day because I just couldn't accept that Batman wasn't real, and I threw it across the room and threw
it's
a
gonna be
tantrum.
okay, Seth.
I mean, yeah, I learned.
It's a scar that he'll have forever. Let's all accept that.
But I think that
But
most of
seriously,
us,
like, I remember that day in my apartment.
we
Like,
know you
holy
do.
shit.
We all.
but I think that
we
that's
all-
what we
It was
when we
real.
talk about
It was
how.
like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
But I think
Not
that
sitting
I
here
think that we
remembering.
all have those moments where we discover the things that we believe in.
Do you remember a terrible tragedy in your lifetime? Yeah, I remember when my mom told me Batman wasn't real. Steven, do you remember a terrible tragedy in your lifetime? Yeah, I remember 9/11. Like,
Yeah, right.
I'm a normal person, Seth. What's wrong with you?
I remember 9/11 too.
Yeah, but that's not.
It's like
the
second
top.
or third.
No. I remember
Death of
9/11.
Superman.
Okay, I remember
Batman's not
9/11
real.
too. Okay, that's not fair. That just means I'm maybe a little bit more complex than you.
Or simple.
I have multiple issues. No, I'm
Or simpler ones.
Whoa.
Multiple issues.
You know what?
Seth Roswell-Penn admits he has multiple issues.
Of course, I have multiple
Of
issues.
course he does. So okay, but let's get to the point that we're ending all this. I think that one of the things that was pretty obvious, in doing the podcast, we didn't really know how this was going to go. We didn't know what we were going to talk about. We didn't really know. We had a general idea of some things we wanted to discuss, but in the end, we hope that you enjoy this. The Karmic Nerd podcast is starting in November. Will be a daily show, a daily live show, and we will also have opportunities for our guests to interact with us, ask us questions, have us discuss various topics. But I'm really excited about the opportunities that not only the show present, but also the opportunity to talk to some of the fans. So feel free to post out onto our Twitter, our Facebook, or either even here on our YouTube page, and ask us questions. Ask us, talk about things that you want to hear us discuss and just riff about, and we'll try to put them on the next show. Seth, any last thoughts?
No.
I have one.
Okay.
If you're at a bar and a man offers you to if a man asks you if you need a drink, the answer is always going to be yes. So if somebody looks at you and says, Steven, do you need a drink? And you say, yeah, I could use one. And he says, that's not what I'm asking. And I say, James, I always need a drink.
It was me, and I think that the point here is pretty obvious. If somebody asks you if you need something, you always say yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. You can always give it back if you're not going to use it. So I think that tonight we're going to end the show. This is episode 1.5, a little bit of after hours discussion about some various topics. So we hope you found it interesting. We hope we found it entertaining. And feel free to discuss any of the topics we talked about on our Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter pages. Thank you very much, and have a good night, everybody.
Good night.